Hey, what's going on, guys? We are back with another edition of the 0 Hour. Tim Lloyd, joined by my man, Jeff Hobbs. We got an old friend, our pal, the Punisher himself, Torrez Finney, in the house, getting ready to talk a little shop with him ahead of his fight coming up with Ikon here just about a week now. Jeff, always good to talk shop with Torrez, of course. See him at all the shows still, and I'm excited to talk about this one we've got coming up for him in about a week in Ikon. He's got what looks to be, at least on paper, his toughest test to date.
Absolutely, man. We have missed the Punisher on the shows, but guys, I mean, he was a staple on the 0 Hour, but hey, guess what? He's got a fighting career too. And as you know, obviously fought with us. He's already had his debut with Ikon. Got another fight coming up. So it was time for Torrez to step away and start concentrating on his own business. And here we are again, I guess a little over a week away from, like you said, Tim, on paper, it's there, man. Toughest 5-1 opponent going to be standing across the cage from him. So, Torrez, welcome back, my man.
Man, I'm happy to be back, man. The 0 Hour, it gave me a little chill. I was like, oh, man, we used to do this all the time, every week. You know, I'll be getting right out of training, getting ready to get on the 0 Hour, get some talks in. You know, man, I love it. So I'm happy to be back.
So let's talk about it, man. Of course, at that point, you're 3-0 as a professional. Getting ready to go for win number 4 against Ivan Batnich, 5-1 out of California. Before we get into this upcoming fight, I guess let's rewind a little bit and let's recap your most recent win over Justin Dorsey. Also on Ikon, you got him out there real quick. Honestly, I think I was honestly surprised. I wasn't surprised that he won, but I was surprised at just how really just you jobbed him out essentially, and it was very, very impressive performance. Let's run back through that, man. Talk about that fight. Anything that in that I didn't look like you had many problems there, but was there anything that you were kind of trying to work on or trying to do out there, or was the game plan just exactly to plan?
For such a basic wrestler as you are, for such a basic pedestrian wrestler as you are. Isn't that what he said, Torrez? He called you basic?
Yeah, he called me another run-of-the-mill type wrestler. So, hey, I probably was another run-of-the-mill type wrestler. But you know what? I look at a lot of different things when I look at my opponents. I look at what they're really good at, and also their weaknesses. And he did wrestle. I mean, his head coach, I can't think of his name, but his head coach. Yeah, Hudson. There you go.
Kelly Hudson.
Hudson. Yeah, Hudson. Yes, there you go. Kelly Hudson. Yes. He was the head wrestling coach at ATT. And he was really confident that he could at least stay off my wrestling and keep it on the feet. A lot of people think that, but I feel really confident in my ability and my skills, also my jiu-jitsu. And the game plan went exactly as that. My goal was to go in there, take him down, put him down, and get him in a position to where I can strike or submit. And I was able to get him in a position to strike. And I was really feeling really good. Only thing is I was a little mad at myself. There were certain positions that I could have done certain things better. But and the other thing was how fast the referee stood us up, on the elbow to the back of the head that didn't affect me. It barely anything, I know, but
we knew who that referee was.
Oh, go ahead.
I said I wish we knew who that referee was.
Yeah. He put me out of my rhythm a little bit. You don't want to get no random stoppages out of nowhere. You want to stay in the flow of things. I was, getting ready to build up to do something. I probably could have finished it faster, but but the win is the win. I got what I had to do. So the goal is obviously Ivan Batnich and having my eyes on him ahead and get ready to prepare for him. I'm feeling really prepared for him. Training camp has been phenomenal. This has been the best training camp I've had. I feel really good, man. And I can see it not only in my own shape. I'm seeing it like when I'm going against my teammates and certain guys I've cross-trained with. So I'm feeling really good.
So let's talk about Ivan a little bit. Out of that West Coast scene, came up on the infamous Dragon House shows early. So a bit of a padded early record, but then he stepped up and actually has a pretty good win. Actually, I was looking at his record here. Win over Daniel Compton is pretty good. Compton, pretty solid opponent. So and to submit him is pretty good. So 5-1, like I said, on paper appears to be your toughest opponent. He is going to be the taller man, as most of your opponents are. But 36 years old, a little longer in the tooth from what my research shows. He didn't make his pro debut till age 30, though. So a little longer in the tooth, but not necessarily just a crazy amount of mileage on him as far as like wear on his body goes. What's your take on him, man? It looks like he's a former football player. Looks like most of his wins are by submission. So I assume that he wants to grapple. That's how he wins a lot of his fights. But then he was submitted in his one loss.
Yes. So looking at his 5-1 record, like you say, early on, he had to work through certain things. But as he continued to grow, I felt like his striking has gotten better. And he tries to wrestle everyone. He wrestled in high school back in California around 2004, basically throughout his high school career. And but he chose the football path, very similar to me. But he's mainly, to me, I feel like a wrestler with mature striking. His striking has gotten better over the years since for the 3-year layoff. And I think once he feel like a little danger, he's ready to grapple. So I'm open to it. I'll grapple with anyone. So I'm open to it. If he thinks he's going to try to come in there and take me down, I want him to attempt. I enjoy it. And he does some certain things. I looked at his last fight, 3-year layoff. I can only look at that so much. It looked like he was a little hesitant in certain positions. Now he's like, he ain't fought in 5 months. So, it'll be interesting to see how he comes back out, against me. But I see some tentative things that he does a lot, like how he comes out or how he steps and how certain things and the way he punch. So I feel like with the game plan we have intact, I should be able to go in there and do the thing and get this job done very well.
Jeff, what you got?
Well, man, Torrez, just for the record, please tell me, because it seems cliche, you always do it, when you say, I'm going to try to work on my stand-up in this fight.
Oh, God.
I'm going to try to show my stand-up in this fight. Because that's always the game plan, right?
Well, yes. It's
until
the
the bell rings, and then instinct takes over.
Well, yes. So look, even the last 3-4 fights, It has been to go in there and to stand up. And look, man, it's tough.
Man, you gotta explain it to me, man. Instinct, bro. Instinct.
That said, just to interject real quick, that said, your last 2 fights, the last guy, Justin Dorsey, like his only chance was to knock you out. His only shot was to land the big one. So it's smart not to give him that. Jake Zog, same thing. He's a big dude. You don't want to just let a guy like that hit you. I mean, that regardless of his record, he's a big dude and he's strong. Now here, we've got a guy that isn't necessarily known so much for his striking. He actually shows grappling chops. So maybe we do get to see a little bit more here.
We might. I mean, that's the thing. Is like he likes to wrestle a lot, and he relies on his wrestling. You gotta also understand he trains at AKA. I now, to my knowledge, inside sources, he don't train much with Habib. Obviously, he don't train with Habib or DC, but he trains at that gym where they work on a lot of grappling. It's funny they call AKA American Kickboxing Academy, but they're known for their grappling. Wrestling and grappling. So that's one of the things that he does a lot of. But I've wrestled all my life, and I feel like my advantage of jiu-jitsu, I feel like my jiu-jitsu is better than his. I do believe my wrestling is better than his, and I just gonna go in there and just do me. And I always tell people this: if I go in there and just do me, I don't think anybody on the planet can beat me. If I go in there and just do me, do my game plan. Now, sometimes, yes, eventually my striking has to come into play. Yes, and this could be the fight where I will have to utilize some of that. But I feel like regardless of whatever I have to utilize, it'll come to test. I feel like I'm the better guy than him. He's a really good fighter. He is a good fighter. I mean, he got a Bellator win. He fought a guy that was 6-1, beat him. He has some really good wins, and he's a really tough opponent. Just because he turned pro at 30 doesn't make him like, oh man, he's not that good. He's old. He's out on his way out the door. Heck, we got a freak. We just had a light heavyweight champion in the UFC that's 42. So you can't look at those type of things. You got to respect them in all areas and aspects, in which I do. But I do know what I bring to the table, and I do not think he'll be able to match it.
You know what? If you look at it's always when you want to see that stand up is when you have two really good wrestlers in the cage. You look at Usman and Covington, you're thinking, man, I can't wait to watch these grappling exchanges and these transitions, and it never hits the ground. The whole thing stays standing. So, hey, maybe this is the time. But I want to touch on, you mentioned your cross training, man, and in this industry. A lot of people don't realize how far, we branch out. I spent a lot of time in Vegas in the early 2000s with fighters, some of the gyms out there. Everybody knows everybody. Every 6 degrees of separation, man. Managers who know managers, coaches who knows coaches, man. And I have gotten a lot of feedback from your recent trip to Las Vegas. A lot of guys that you got to come in contact with out there that have kind of done that secretly to this guy's the real deal kind of thing. So tell us about the trip to Vegas. We know you went out there with Trevor Peak and got to go out there with him while he was doing his thing, and you got to slide in a lot of those and get your own training in. And like I said, word on the street out there is that you impressed a lot of people out there. And ironically, one of the things that I heard was your mitt work, your hands. It wasn't Torrez's. Actually, I heard two things, but it wasn't Torrez's wrestling. It was they're impressed with, granted, mitts are mitts, and it's not another person punching you back, but they were really impressed with your handwork, your hand speed, your combinations. And the other thing was that you freaking smile all the time. They were like, there's no way this guy is always that happy. There's no way this guy is really just that good a guy. And I had to explain to those, yes, he is. So tell us about the cross training, man.
Well, man, yes, I had an opportunity to go with the now newly UFC fighter Trevor Peak. I got an opportunity to go with him to the UFC PI Center. And man, yes, that is a phenomenal place. It's really interesting. I mean, it's really amazing. It's amazing all the way around. And I got an opportunity to work with some real, legendary guys like, Dewey Cooper, Eric Nixkick. There you go, the head coach for Extreme Couture. And, I got an opportunity to be able to see all those guys. And, man, I got a chance to, spar with Sean Strickland, spar with Chris Curtis, spar with, the guy that's going for the $170 million contract in the PFL, Sai. I can't think his name right now.
Sadabu Sai.
There you go, him. Yes.
He's a tall mofo.
Yeah. Got a chance to wrestle, Brad Tavares. There was a lot of really good guys I got an opportunity to go with. And man, that's the thing, I was able to go in there and utilize my skills, and a lot of those guys were like, man, you're there, man. You're like one of the exchanges with one of the UFC. I'm not gonna call names, I'm not gonna say names on anyone, but with one of the exchanges, I was doing one of my things, and I took him down. He couldn't get up, and I was just doing me. And Sean had come over. He said, "You let that guy do that to you, or is he that good?" And he was like, "I think he's that good. I don't know." And I got an opportunity to go with a lot of other UFC guys. He was like, I want around. And it was fun, man. It was a great experience. Great chance to see how your skills hold up against, heck, like Sean Strickland, the number 5 ranked guy in the world at middleweight. No better guy to do that, against, especially before you're about to get ready to fight. And it just helped me give me some confidence, man. And going with those guys, man, those are going to be guys better than the guys I'm going against in the cage, than the guy I'm going against in the cage next Friday. And it was a big-time confidence booster. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything. Jay Haran, another, like you said, a blast from the past. He's been in the UFC. He's older, but he still spars and get on the mat with those boys. So it was really fun to have an opportunity. Edmund Shabazi and another one. So it was good to go with those guys, man, and get that experience.
Do you find though, when you're out there, you're a real humble guy and you're a real down to earth guy, honestly. you get in those positions where, you just you gotta try to balance out people selling wolf tickets all the time. You get all the compliments and things like that, and oh man, I can get you this, or you keep doing this, I can do this for you. Is it a part of you just kind of has to block that stuff out and just realize sometimes people just blow smoke up your butt, and it's like, I know what my path is, I know what the blueprint and the plan is, and kind of, I don't want to say not listen to it, but not try not to buy into so much with a lot of the things when you go on these trips and people saying, stick with me, I'll get you here, or hey, you come here and I could hook you up with this guy.
Yeah. So the thing is like, so what I'm more of accustomed to per se is when you're growing up in high school, everybody has that dream of playing NFL football. Everybody understands the path to like how to get to the NFL. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understands that path. Go to college, do the combine, get drafted, blah, blah, blah. MMA is a lot different. All right. The path to the UFC could be 1,000 different ways, or path to Bellator or PFL. There's so many different ways. So you hear, well, if you do this, I can get you here. Or if you do this, I can get you here. Heck, to be honest, if I had to be straight up honest, the only way I know how to get to the UFC is the only one I've seen in person so far, and that was Trevor Peak. So I don't know what's the right way or the wrong way or how to do it.
Or what'll be your way, which may be different than somebody else.
Right, my way could be different. I don't know, and that's why it's just up to me just to go in there and do my thing and continue to keep on training. I have the people that are around me, like I have Matt, Sterling, Larry, those guys that have helped me put me on the right path and the right road to say, okay, we should take this direction. Okay, we should do this fight. Or we should do this. So I don't per se have to be like, well, I don't know what I do, or whether should I fight this, and just fighting all these different random fights, and you don't get nowhere. I've seen some guys on regional scenes, like per se, depending on the certain opponents they're fighting against. They're fighting against all these different guys, and then they get like a short notice Bellator call in a week, or a 1 week PFL call, stuff like that, and you're like, that's not what I'm going for. That's not what I want. Wherever I'm going to, I want to be there for a hot minute. I want to be there for a long time. So
not just say you were there for a cup of coffee right now.
There you go. Exactly. So that's what I'm pursuing. That is what I'm pursuing. And you hear a lot of, get your short notice here and get your short notice there, or we can get you quick here. Like you hear that, or some of these gyms I go to, they try to recruit me, man. Like, hey, be here. I went to ATT. I've trained at Fusion. Now I'm training at Stream Couture. A lot of these different gyms. Like you train here, you stay here, and we can surely for sure get you here. I know this guy. And yeah, that's all good. But how is that going to help me for me to continue to get better when I need to just go in there and just do what I'm doing, stay on the path I'm currently doing? The coaches here have helped me out a lot. The team that I have behind me has helped me out a lot. There's no reason for me to stay on another path. So.
And that's what's good to hear, because like I said, you see so many guys, they'll go do a cross training or make that trip to Vegas or Florida, and they get bought into I have to be at a place like this to get there. And sometimes those fighters and coaches, I'm not saying that any of them that you have experienced, but there are some out there that try to steer you to this way is the way to do it. But like you said, you're in a position now where you can say, no, it doesn't have to be. I've watched somebody do it a different way. I watched somebody come from Alabama to Agoge to the UFC. It doesn't have to be a star-studded gym. It doesn't have to be this, and not forgetting where you came from, and say, hey, I'm here for some cross training. I'm here to get some work in. I'm here to give you guys another look, but I'm also going back home, to my gym, and I'm gonna forge my own path to the UFC.
And I tell people that, a lot of people talk about gyms, they're like, oh, well, is it now? Look, yes. Are there some really good things about ATT? Yes. There's some really good things about Stream Couture. Yes. There's some really good things about probably AKA and all these big time gyms you hear of a lot on TV. Yes, there are some really good things about those gyms. But the things that I've started to notice about certain gyms like that is that some of them don't have the basics enough. They don't have that more of like that camaraderie of of an actual gym where like people actually care. Like certain people that can just whoop your tail in only jiu-jitsu, or certain people that just can whoop your tail in only Muay Thai, rather than a full MMA setting, everybody in there trying to kill each other and grind. Yes, that is good. Yes, that is needed at certain times, but sometimes you got to work on the fundamentals. And if you don't work on the fundamentals enough, just because you're a tough fighter, that's not going to always get you the path to where you need to be. A lot of guys think I need to go to ATT. Yeah, I'm tough. A lot of that stuff, you just sprawl, you're brawling, you're sparring. Not enough individual work, not enough fundamental work compared to coming back home working on the things that you need to work on. So,
right. It seems like it's all about the fight in the fight camp, where your home gyms are still where you're learning. Where you're learning. Yeah.
There you go. That is exactly what it is. So that's why. Look, I've already had some people tell me like, you think you need to leave your gym? Look, we can tell them you can leave your gym. You can do this. We can get you to this gym. And I'm like, nah, I'm staying with Agoge, man. I understand what we're doing. I love what we're doing, and we're growing. I mean, it's not just me. It's not just Trevor. I mean, we've got a lot of other guys, that is coming up right now. Heck, that's about to fight soon. You got guys fighting this Friday. You got guys fighting next on the 29th. We got guys fighting on the 11th. Like, those guys are coming up. Those are going to be the next batch of Agoge fighters y'all got to be on the watch for. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I made a good point there, actually. 'Cause if you think about it, you've got your hometown, your regional gyms. There is much more, like you said, camaraderie, much more ownership of your results, of how your team does. You get behind you go through the battles and the sweats in the gym, the training and the hard work. You really have a vested interest in how your teammates do it. And I don't think that it's necessarily the same at these big gyms. It's not like everybody's like AKA for life. We are pumped up. Whoever the lowest amateur on our roster is fighting, and that isn't how it is really. Where they're good to go get the work if you don't have necessarily the size and the bodies that you need at your home gym. You get out there for a week or two, get good rounds, harden yourself up in the sparring. But yeah, I like where your head's at, man. Go. It's wherever you're going to be most comfortable. Whoever makes you the best you can be. And that's the best.
The best picture for me is, think about Trevor and Dana White Contender Series, Tim. And there's guys on that show that come from big gyms. I mean, you've got your, when do they put a camera somewhere in a city at a gym? Do you very rarely ever see them put a camera up in, I don't mean this literally, but just say like an Extreme Couture or a
Jackson
big,
Wink.
Jackson Wink. But every time, what do? It's the small
town guy. They're having
gym. And that's where they put the camera up, because they know there's going to be 100 to 200 people in that small town gym supporting their guy. Where at those big gyms, you're not going to see a camera set in there for a viewing party, because fighters there are a dime a dozen, been there, done that, seen that. I don't ever see that guy. It says he trains at such and such gym, but I don't train with him.
Yeah, I might have to fight that guy sometime.
Yeah, because I'm at this class and he's at this class. We've never crossed paths.
I've heard that already.
It's the gyms like Agoge where they put those cameras up, because that's where you see that small town, hometown, regional, just flair and feel.
Yeah, I've heard that already with my opponent. I mean, like, certain days are the part of the time he trains compared to the other times he trains. So, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you don't get that full thing. Like, for instance, I've already been to one of the gyms. They have a thing called a forbidden mat. Like, they only let the top guys train on it. And I was blessed and just lucky to be, I was offered like, hey, you can come train on this mat with us. And it was some top tier guys, but they would let nobody regional. If you step that way, hey, you got to go back over this way. Like, that's not, that's not what I'm all about, to be honest with you. Look, we train with everybody. Now, we just ain't gonna let no newbie come off the street and start training with us. But if you train before, like, come on, dude, you can come to our training MMA class and train with us. I mean, we're not like that, So. That's what I love about Agoge, man. It's still down to earth, but we still go hard.
Yeah, it's a good case in point this weekend at Aries 12. You've got 2 0-1 amateurs on the card. But the hype and the support and the excitement behind seeing Miles and Frankie go this weekend is just like seeing whoever go fight whatever weekend.
Right. I mean, look, Miles is my teammate just as much as Trevor is my teammate. I mean, look, I spar with Miles not like not last week because I was in Vegas, but the week before, I did some sparring rounds with Miles. You know, I've done some grappling stuff with Frankie. I try to help out everybody that I possibly can here at the gym. You know, they have a question about wrestling and certain things or cage stuff. Hey, I help them out. I go for them like, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. Like, no, there's nobody lower than another person here. We really want everybody that's on our team that represent. We want them to win. Heck, I mean, you know, when Q is here, like we're helping Q out. Like Q is always, hey, we're fully committed in on Q. You need to do this, this, this. We have a game plan. You need to do this, this, and this. Like, you know, we got Luke Wilson now. You know, he's about to fight in October. We have a game plan. Hey, you need to do this, this, and this. Like, there's no levels compared to like how those higher level gyms. They don't care about the lower level guys compared to the higher level guys. Everybody's equal. And we need to continue to do that. And we love to do. I mean, that's why I love Agoge. You know, everybody is treated equally. So
I like what you just said, though. Everybody in the gym knows what Luke's game plan is or what the plan is for Luke. Everyone in the gym, all the fighters know what Frankie's game plan is and what we're working on for Frankie. I love that, man.
That's right. And we got Sterling right here. He just walked in.
Hey, what's up?
We never game plan for Finney, though. We just leave him hanging.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Good seeing you, my man.
Hey, you know what's funny? It's like when I fight, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, are y'all gonna ever say anything? Like they barely say anything.
Right. Just let him go do his thing. He's ready. He ain't listening to us anyway. Right. Well, hey man, we'll wrap this thing up. It's always a pleasure, brother. What is what before we do the sponsors and all that stuff? Like what is what's short term here? Is this going to probably you looking for this one to be the last one for 2022? Get fresh in 2023. You looking to try to squeeze one more in? Is it all just depend how this fight goes?
Yes, it really just depends on the aftermath of this fight, what happens next. Because there's been some talks, nothing for sure. I can't, like you say, wolf noise, I can't listen to that. I still got to go in there and fight. I got to still go in there and execute. But there just have been some talks potentially of something bigger behind this or whatever. I don't know. I really don't care until after the fight. And if there is any time in before, I mean, just depending on how the fight goes, maybe, I've already done some talking just to see, maybe something quick in November. And if not, I will wait probably at the beginning of the year just to get some training in. And I probably will go to probably March or April and just wait and then get a fight and then, be ready for the Contender Series for myself after the fact. But right now it's just focus on Ivan, whatever the aftermath of this fight is, because this will be this is a big time fight for me, and I feel like I go in here and do what I'm supposed to do. I'll get a big time win, and we'll see what happens after that. I think this is going to be really big for my career, and I'm excited for the opportunity.
We'll let you get the shout outs further ado, my man, friends, family, training partners, sponsors. Let them have it, man, and then let them know where to follow you on the social medias.
Yes. Sponsor, man, Vibrant Meals. They've been helping me out a lot, man. They've done a lot of different things, sending me meals every week. They send me 8 meals every week. So I love it. I thank them. They sponsor me. Thank you for them. Obviously, my management company, First Round Management, my team, Agoge. I got his name. It was Monkey and Meat. Now it's called Cut Above It. From Luke Wilson, he's sponsoring me as well. Agoge Armory as well. At PKP, they work me out every day, so I can never forget Peak Kinetic Performance, man. They get me in the best shape. They're the reason why I'm feeling so good and confident about this fight because they have me in the best shape possible. And my training partners, obviously, we got Logan Neal, Trevor Peak, John Hampton, Gannon Hampton, Josh Booker, Zane Burton, those guys, all the guys I cross-trained with. So those were the guys that have been really beneficial to me in this entire camp, and I thank them a lot for it. And social media, everything is Punisher Torrez, at Punisher Torrez, PUNISHER, Torrez, TORREZ. So.
And if you guys are out there like me, it's time to re-up your $9.99 UFC Fight Pass again. So I got it for your last one, canceled it. Now I got to re-up it again. So the UFC's getting another $9.99 out of me.
$9.99. Yeah, UFC Fight Pass $9.99. I wish their pay-per-views was $9.99.
Yeah, no doubt. Catch Torrez Finney, the Punisher, as he takes on Ivan Batnich at Ikon 5. That's next Friday, October the 14th, down in Augusta, Georgia, or is it Savannah? Oh, Savannah, Georgia, isn't it? Savannah, Georgia. Yeah, it's close. Savannah, Georgia, and of course you can catch it on UFC Fight Pass. And make sure you give Torrez a follow there on social media. Keep up with what he's going on. We appreciate the time, Torrez. I know this is probably the last of the hard work you're putting in this week before the weight cut begins. So we appreciate a few minutes of your time, and best of skills out there, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much for having me on.
See
y'all.
Yep.